Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Business of Music podcast. My name is Elliot. I'm here with James. What's up, man?
Another day, Tuesday. Not too much going on right now. Quiet week.
It has been a quiet week, and it's given us a lot of time to kind of dive into what else we want to do and who else we could have on the show. And actually, today we are starting the show right away with a guest. Let me introduce Amy Ioné. No, Ioné, there it is. I knew, we called this. I knew this was going to throw me off. There's too many vowels going on. Amy Ioné.
Yeah.
So my apologies. Amy, how you doing?
I'm doing great. And no worries. This gets botched all the time, so I'm used to it. It's my fault in the first place because I had a little name change back in college that really now makes it so difficult for people to say it out loud. So saying it phonetically like you did before we started is the way to be successful.
I always leave it to Elliot to do all the names. Listen to him botch them, depending on the accent. It's great.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. That's kind of where I come in, just to mess things up and make James look good. But we're really excited to have you on the show here today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's our pleasure. The last episode we got into a lot on like mixing and mastering the music itself. But you have some great takes on what it is in what artists can do to create an image and like a brand that is outside of the music itself.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So what would you say that you're like a branding coach? Is that like the title that you have when you're working with artists?
I do use it now, but I feel like it fluctuates. I feel like I've changed my name a lot since I've started, right? Like I started my company a year ago, Cherries on Top, and it originally was going to be a marketing agency, but I noticed that I pulled towards aesthetics. I pulled towards the creation of a look of an artist, how they came across on the social media platforms that they were using. And I felt like that was more my jam. So that, fast forward through quarantine, I started doubling down on branding and showing up on social media and Instagram in particular. That's like my favorite. That's my favorite platform. But so I feel like there has also not been a lot of education on this particular topic. A lot of artists focus on marketing their music and doing all the creative that comes along with making the music, but how to show up and how to look good and how to figure out how to be respected in the industry as an independent artist, I think is not taught often. So I focus on that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right that those areas seem to be forgotten, or that artists seem to think that the music itself does all the talking.
Right.
And I think maybe there are artists who can get away with that if you're super established and it's very well known that you have an audience and you are who you are. Like,
right.
Like, sure, the music and you just being you is enough, but obviously not everyone is to that point. So what are some of the things that you see independent artists like making a clear mistake with?
Sure. Oh my gosh, it's such a great question. And there's so many directions that we can go into on this. But when we're talking about social media and Instagram in particular, I feel like artists are unclear about what to post. And it's funny, I actually just made a post today on that because later on today I'll do a Instagram live, but it's not knowing what kind of content to post to keep things interesting and to add value and build a community on their social platform and on Instagram. So I feel like they're running out of ideas, especially around the time that they have to release new music. And I find that it's really helpful to kind of educate them on this particular topic of what tools are available to them, what it really looks like to add value consistently. As I feel like artists show up a lot of times right before they have something to offer, but not knowing what that consistency really does for them is really what I'm finding artists really having an issue with. Also, posting the same content over. It's a big, I think, issue when you look at a feed, when you go onto their profile and you see the same exact cover art. So that's really what I'd like to always keep communicating with artists, that it's possible to think outside the box. It's possible to have ideas and be creative here in this content making.
I always find myself telling artists that they need to come up with a brand, figure out who they want to be known as, because ultimately a listener is great, but becoming a fan of someone, usually you become a fan of them or their music for a reason. A brand helps that. But what artists don't think about, they always ask, oh, what's my brand? I don't know. That's not my job. They're the creatives. They should be able to come up with something. But what I found recently, and what I see a lot of recently during COVID, is A&Rs are talking about artists' brands being hurt by who they hire as a manager. And I think that's something, I don't know if you have anything to talk about, but artists, I don't think, are thinking about their brand outside of, oh, look at me posing in front of a car. They're hiring their best friend as a manager. And when that happens and that manager is not professional or doesn't know how to hold themselves out, it can really hurt the artist brand. Have you ever have you dealt with managers like that, for example?
To be honest, I work with artists that don't have management. And I have been approached by artists with management, and it just there's not a flow of energy there that I like to work with. So, but I do see it. I do see a lot of wrong direction all the time. And it's heartbreaking.
It's weird because if you think about it, artists think managers help them with everything and they're going to take care of everything for me and stuff like that. But someone like you just said it. You want to work with the artist because you're helping the artist. You're not going to help the manager build the artist brand. And now you're playing telephone. It's the same as a publicist. They don't want to go through the manager to get to the artist to answer a simple question. But I think that's a big thing about someone's brand that people don't think about. They think about Facebook, Instagram, and what their music sounds like and being continuous with it all and kind of flowing. But they don't think about who are you putting yourself around, who are you communicating through, who's talking for you, because it's almost having a manager is like having an attorney. You're signing off on everything they say and letting them be your agent. And then now you're on the hook if they say something that was stupid or react stupid to, I don't know, Universal reaches out to them and they tell them F off. That hurts you. There's a lot better ways to go about it.
Absolutely, James. I think you guys are on the right track with really guiding artists in this direction. I think that if you're more knowledgeable on so many of these topics, if you take the time to learn what you need to learn in this industry, you'll be better off. You'll be able to handle the questions that come, and you'll be in the meetings with the managers. You'll be able to know how to look at this as a business. I think a lot of artists also don't do that. They're again focused on a lot of creativity, but not necessarily viewing their artistry, their work as like a real business. So I think the best thing they can do is just try to reach out to professionals like you guys and myself to get the education that they need so that they can make smart decisions going forward.